Welcome to the episode of Modern Bach. Thank you for joining me today. Really dominant performance from South Africa. Some question marks from Italy, in my opinion, on discipline. Really not great, especially that tip tackle on Dwayne. But yeah, let's get into it. So obviously South Africa opened the game with a good try in the first few minutes. Colby just finding space where nobody else should be able to find space. Continuing his legacy in this World Cup, which is just awe-inspiring so far. Concerned about his injury at the end a little bit, but we'll see. Italy come back with a good cross, a good penalty, which I definitely think that game was game on. But yeah, then the second half became a little bit of a stalemate. Italy having a large amount of possession up to the end of the half, really start pushing, pressurizing. South Africa do go for a penalty to make it 10-3, but it was still quite a lot of pressure on South Africa's pack, I think, up to that point. It wasn't, no team had dominance yet, and there was definitely a little bit of shakiness. We go into the half like that, and it was, well, there was another try, and it was still shaky. South Africa didn't take dominance from this performance yet at all. Second half, it looked like Italy were going to score for at least the first 5 minutes, and it was close to it, but then the fateful moment happened. Some cynical things, especially from the fact that we had no tackle, I think the forwards were maybe getting frustrated, but no scrums from the 20th minute. Some people arguing that was maybe a strategy, that they effectively made South Africa's scrum useless, but it definitely led to the point where South Africa then had the alternative happen, where they forwards had a lot of space and time to actually play in the mauls and started dominating on mauls especially. So that counteracted, but that tip tackle was bad. I'm surprised not both of them went off, as Dwayne was really out of nowhere for no reason done that too, and that effectively changed the game for Italy. After that, South Africa's dominant forward pack started to demolish theirs. The Italians' attack just couldn't find any space after that because they were moving backwards every time, and South Africa capitalized with a couple of really good tries. Overall, scrappy. Valeru again on and off in his performance. Pollard's kicking wasn't great, but I felt tactically he was better, so it was an improvement. Damien de Arlander, some good moments, and probably the best game so far in a while, but still not amazing. I think he is growing into this World Cup though. Arm very strong in defence, some good moments on attack, but yes, the shine obviously is the Pimpy and Colby, which it should be, and they did very well. I think that South Africa definitely need to look at offset piece play. We're just not able to find some impressive attacking capabilities, often dropping the ball in those situations, but in open play and in counter attack we are performing well. So definitely parts to work on. Obviously leaving a couple of points on the field by Pollard, which is also a worrying symptom. We will see how the performance improves over the tournament. Other than that, I think forward pack again, South Africa's limelight. This is where South Africa shines, and they did again. Players like Lewitt and Eben, Dwayne Vermeulen, and Peter Steff really just towering above the Italians, and they couldn't fight that off. I mean, 595 run meters versus 250 just shows the open play ability. To be fair, almost the same amount of runs in the game. It was just the dominant distance that they got was just much better. Overall, the scrums and everything like that, South Africa did actually. South Africa took 2 lineouts, which was really good to see. Possession in the end of the game, the last 10 minutes, just to show you that that red card killed Italy, and the performance and the fact that there was there was definitely a lot of possession going Italy's way for most of the game. The last 10 minutes, 99% of the possession was in South Africa's hands, and yet the game still ended up with pretty much 50-50 possession and territory. So it shows you that it was those last 20 minutes killed Italy with the red card, and that does question South Africa's eyes sometimes what would have happened without it, but I think that their forward pack was definitely chipping away, and it was just going to be maybe a slightly lower score for the win. Cool, going into the next games, we've got the Uruguay-Australia game, and this is Uruguay hurting. Georgia gave them a walloping, and I've got a feeling that it's going to be similar in this game, with obviously some subs for the Australians, but still, it's not their top side, but it's still no joke. I mean, you've still got Hayder Petty out there, you've got Leofano playing against you. There's still a lot of quality in the side. Nick White had a great game this week, so yeah, I don't think it's going to be as much of a. I think it's going to be more of a beating actually. I wouldn't be surprised if this goes over 40 to 50 points. Kurandrani is going to be really pushing it, and South Africa, Australia definitely have been improving in their World Cup. They had a close loss to Wales. something that they'll be ruining, and they're obviously going to go for a bonus here, but I don't think that Uruguay's going to be able to contain them at all. I think this is going to be a bit of a bloodbath, and similar to the Namibia, South Africa, and Canada and New Zealand games, in my opinion. I don't see it going any other way. Good on the Uruguayans, but it's going to be a tough one. Tough day at the office. Next, the biggest game of the weekend, in my opinion. I know some will say the next game is also huge, and it is. But yes, let's get into it. England, Argentina. England, this is probably the biggest game. This is definitely the biggest game for England's group. Same with Argentina, but they've at least had a big challenge against them with France. So the question, obviously, everybody's mind is, can the English step up throughout this tournament? But with players like Tuilalangi, Ford having a great game, really taking his own. Ben Young's also, and Vunipola, of course. Vunipola getting more and more game time to improve his performances. I can't see this being going away from England, although I don't see it being a massive win. Showing that obviously Sanchez has not had a good World Cup, he's not starting, and you're getting a lot of youngsters playing in this tournament, playing this game for Argentina side. That could either mean some really great X-Factor moments for Argentina, or it could mean England run away with it. I'm going to give this to England by about 10 to 15. I don't see it being much more than that, because I think Sanchez was probably the thing that hurt them against Tonga, and there were some really great moments for Argentina in the first half with these players on. So I think that's going to continue with this, and I think that's why the Argentinian coach has gone this way. Eddie Jones obviously is looking at this game as this is effectively the game to take them. No matter what, if they win this, they go through. So it'll be an important win. But I don't see it being much more than a 10 to 15 point win. As after that, I think Argentina definitely have the firepower, especially up front, to hold them off. And their scrum has been quite impressive in this tournament, and it continues to grow, in my opinion, with the X factor of their backs. And if they can get the ball moving, something that unfortunately hurts them in these weather conditions, I think it'll be quite interesting to see. England, on the other hand, definitely with their really strong runners and physical play, should in the end win it. The last game, the Japan-Samoa one. This is a big one. This is a big one because Japan can take this. They will go through almost certainly. Now it just depends on how the Scotland game goes, where they end up in between the two. I think they can definitely take it. Samoa were not convincing throughout the week, I have to admit. But to be fair, they've had a bunch of subs to improve. To CPC not playing, which I think he's been probably poor tournament, so it makes sense. But on this hand, also Lapis Labiskachli taking captaincy for this game from his good performance against Ireland. I was quite impressed with it, and I think it's just going to it's just credit to him. I think that this will be a good, strong game for Japan, but Japan have the tendency to play as well as the opponents they play against. So they just got to make sure that they don't get pushed into this trying to play the Samoan rugby, play their own style, which is very similar to Samoan. It's just a little bit more clinical. I don't think Samoans have the clinicality to do it, and they're able to handle these conditions. So if they can do that, they'll be fine. I'll take a definite. If they play strategically, they're going to play like Scotland did against Samoa, kick them into their own half and force them to try and play out there, as the Samoans don't have the clinicality to actually play out of that situation. So I think they're going to drop the ball. I would say this is going to be similar scoreline by at least 20 points to Japan. Although to be fair, Japan rarely beat a team by a lot. They play as well as them, as I said. But I'm going to give it to them. I think there's a lot of pride, a lot of confidence, and a lot of energy in that team. 20 points should be a comfortable win for them, if they can stick to that. If Samoa get them to play their style and try and face them up front, Samoa could upset them. But not to be against Samoa, I think it'll be nice to see Japan go through to the World Cup quarters. So it's a good win for them. But yeah, thanks guys. I hope you enjoyed my video. Anything else, any comments, share, like, all those good things down below. Cheers.